Okay, which one do you want to start with?
I'm going to start with the One Beyond cameras. These are Crestron's optical zoom cameras, which means they're for your larger spaces. The I series, and that's going to be the One Beyond I-12 and I-20, have the intelligence built right into the camera, hence the I. The P series are your standard PTZ cameras, that's the P, and then the number after that is going to be the zoom amount. So you'll see 12 and you'll see 20. The cameras come in a 12x or a 20x option.
Are these standalone?
Yes, these can be just connected to your video conferencing platform. They offer several different standard video outputs. It makes it a breeze to connect. So you have USB, standard USB 3.0, NDI, HX, HDMI, and SDI. Those are all available in the P-Series cameras and the I-20. The I-12 has standard USB, again 3.0, and HDMI and SDI.
Everything seems to be PoE these days. How about these?
Most people are going to control this camera over the network. They support VSCA over TCP. Another protocol is OnViv. You also can control these cameras using serial control, so RS-232 or RS-485. If you wanted to use a joystick or something like that, you could with these cameras as well. Also, they support UVC control, so you can control them via USB. And this is very popular for control through a video conferencing platform or something like that.
With the cameras being so intelligent, why would I want to control them?
So a lot of people want to be able to turn off the tracking features when they're not in a meeting. So they may want to, have the camera go to a particular position or not be moving around or adjusting when they're not actually in a meeting that they want to have recorded. Also, sometimes people want the flexibility to show something, that may be something that happens unexpectedly, and they want to be able to have the ability to have that manual control. They can do so. Another thing is when these cameras are used with Automate VX, the Automate VX system will control the cameras over the network.
I know there's a camera manager software. Does that need to be running on a computer for the camera to work?
No, the One Beyond Camera Manager software is only required for setup and configuration. So you'll want to have a computer that's running Windows connected on the same network as the camera. You configure the space, and then you can disconnect that computer, and all of the configurations are saved in the cameras themselves. The One Beyond Camera Manager software is available for download on the website, and there are great training videos on how to use that through CTI.
Before we get into individual camera specifications, is there anything to note here?
Color comes up a lot when we're talking about design. So the I-12 is available in Moon Gray, and the I-20 and the P-Series cameras are available in Moon Gray and Bright White.
Let's talk more specifically about the One Beyond I-12 camera. What can you tell me about it?
The One Beyond I-12 camera is a very flexible camera. It's ideal for your medium to large-sized meeting spaces, and it has the ability to be used in the front of the room as a group framing camera or in the back of the room as a presenter tracking camera. And you actually can, just by connecting it to your video conferencing platform, switch between one that's set up as a group framing camera and one that's set up as a presenter tracking camera. You do need to designate which mode the cameras are in before you install them.
It looks like there's a camera in the base here. What's that for?
That's the wide-angle reference camera. So you'll notice that both of the I series have that reference camera in the base, and it's a key part of how these cameras operate. The visual AI that's built into the camera analyzes what the reference camera can see, and it makes decisions based off of that. The wide-angle reference camera in the I-12 has up to a 104-degree horizontal field of view, and it's very important that that wide-angle reference camera can see the whole area in the room that needs to be covered by the camera.
Okay, so how do you avoid putting the camera where it can't see people?
When you're using the I-12 as a group framing camera, you need to pay attention both to the horizontal field of view of the reference camera, but also for that top main PTZ camera. When you are group framing, you're typically not always zooming in on one person. You may spend a lot of time with this camera zoomed all the way out to be able to see everybody at the table. And in that case, you want to be looking at the top PTZ camera's field of view, and that's going to be about 67 degrees.
How far back can a camera be placed?
So the effective range for the visual AI in this camera is around 25 feet. We're going to recommend this distance for both the presenter tracking and the group framing. One thing to keep in mind is you don't want to mount this on the side of the room. You want to mount it center to either the presentation area if you're using it as a presenter tracking camera, or if you're using it as a group framing camera, you would want it center to the table.
Does how high it's mounted make an impact?
It does, and this is one particular camera where you'll want to pay close attention to where you're mounting it as part of the design. So when you're using this camera as a group framing camera, you're typically going to be placing it at the front of the room, about 4 to 7 feet off the ground, so it's eye level with the people at the table. When you are using it as a presenter tracking camera, you're typically going to mount it higher in the back of the room. That way you're able to see over anybody who is in the audience, and that they're not going to get in your presentation zone. In general, the higher the camera is mounted, the further away the participant should be in order to get a favorable camera angle.
Can the camera be mounted upside down?
This camera does need to be mounted right side up for the math to work properly in the algorithm. And this is going to be true for all of our cameras that have that wide angle camera in the base.
What if I can't mount it on a wall?
So Crestron offers a J-ceiling mount, or you can find another third-party mounting shelf that will fit the dimensions of the camera. One thing to note is that this camera, the One Beyond i12, does not come with a mount. You would need to purchase the correct type for your room. This way you're going to get the right mount whether you're using it as a group framing camera or a presenter tracking camera. It is compatible with the universal mounting bracket, the wall mount, and the J-ceiling mount.
Are there any other placement considerations?
You'll want to take a look at obstructions like columns and make sure that wherever people are in the space, you're able to see them from the camera. You also want to take a look at displays, particularly if you are using this camera as a presenter tracking camera. Displays typically have other people on them in videos or far-end participants. The good news is within the camera software, you have the ability to designate up to 8 different blocking zones. So that could be for those displays, or if you had a glass wall where people might be walking through and you didn't want the camera to be distracted by, you have that opportunity as well. But you should analyze and take a look at the space and identify those distractions or obstructions ahead of time.
You can switch between 2 i12 cameras. What do I need to know about that setup?
If 2 i12s are installed in a room, you can enable multi-camera switching between them. This is going to be a presenter tracking camera that's typically in the back of the room, and a group framing camera that is up at the front. When you install these cameras, you should follow the specifications that we just went through.
How do I connect these?
The camera that's set to group framing is going to determine which output to provide your video conferencing platform. This camera should be connected to your video conferencing platform via USB. Both cameras get connected to your local network.
How do the 2 i12s get paired?
As I mentioned, the i12 cameras are connected to the same network, and the pairing is done in the One Beyond Camera Manager software.
Let's look at the One Beyond i20 camera now. What can you tell us about that camera?
The i20 is a premium presenter tracking camera. It features the single presenter tracking up to 50 feet, plus group tracking and preset zones. Group tracking is a highly requested feature that allows there to be more than one presenter in the presentation area, and the camera will smoothly follow everyone in that area. We have also added a preset zone feature that calls a preset when the presenter walks into a particular zone in the space.
Placement was key on the i12, so I assume that it's the same on the i20?
Correct. Placement is key. So this camera is going to follow the same rules and principles as the i12 in terms of placement. You're going to want to mount it 7 to 12 feet high across from your presentation area. So you want it centered, not off to the side. And you want to make sure that that reference camera is going to be able to see the whole area that your presenter or presenters may walk in.
What about the distance?
So this camera can be placed up to 50 feet away from your presentation area.
And upside down?
It cannot be mounted upside down. So this camera does come with a standard wall mount, and you can also look into getting one of the J ceiling mounts as well.
Any other mounting considerations I'm not thinking of?
Sometimes when you are mounting further away, you may need to tilt the camera down a little bit. The wall mount and the J ceiling mount both come with a platform that allows you to do so.
Anything with tracking and blocking zones?
These zones are going to work the same as the i12 when used as a presenter tracking camera.
How about the preset zones?
Yeah, so the preset zones, you want to make sure that those are within your tracking zone that you're going to set up. So that'll be done in the Camera Manager software.
Can you tell me more about the P-Series?
The P-Series cameras are standard PTZ cameras, so they're not going to have that reference camera in the base. Primarily, you're going to use them intelligently via Automate VX, which is the multi-camera speaker tracking solution, or you would pair them with some intelligence from a cloud-based solution that's built into your video conferencing platform.
How do I know when to use a P12 or a P20?
Difference between the P12 and the P20 is the optical zoom. So that number afterwards is going to designate how much zoom there is. So a 12 is 12x and a 20 is 20x. And when you're looking at your space, you want to take a look at how far away people are from the camera. The 20x is going to allow you to get a close-up of somebody who's up to 60 feet away, and the 12x will allow you to do so up to 30 feet away. The other thing that you want to take a look at is the field of view for both of these cameras. If you're going to be zooming them all the way out, the 12x has a slightly wider field of view than the 20x.
Is there anything else to consider?
The other thing that you should consider is the maximum field of view in both of these, because you may not be using them zoomed in, you may be zooming all the way out. And in that case, you want to pay attention and make sure that everybody that needs to be captured can. And the P12 is going to have a slightly wider field of view than the P20.
So these cameras are used a lot with Automate VX. Can you talk a little bit about that?
When these cameras are used with Automate VX, they're going to be brought into the Automate VX solution either via SDI or NDI-HX. And they are primarily going to be used for the people who are seated around a table or may go to a particular standing position. Automate VX does have visual AI that will adjust the framing if that person moves around a little bit. However, if you do have somebody who's walking around in a designated presentation area, you should be looking at either the i12 or the i20 camera.